A high-speed rotary tool like the Dremel 4300 is almost a jack of all trades for advanced crafters, makers, and anybody looking to increase the number of materials they can work with and do it in new ways. With a huge variety of attachments and tools, as well as variable speed, there are few things that this tool cannot at least take a crack at. But is it worth the investment? And what are a few things that might tip the scales back on your buying decision? We're going to jump into all that and more in this video. My name's Eli with MakerBrain, and I'm excited to get into this because I love to help creators just like you access and implement their creativity with tips, tutorials, and tool reviews just like this one. So if that sounds like something that interests you, then consider subscribing. Now, what I got is the Dremel 4300 kit at a local department store, and this comes with a bunch of different tools and attachments, and depending upon how much you spend, you might be missing out on a couple of those little attachments. But the wire on the tool itself, that's what I'm going to start out talking about, is about 6 feet long, and it can run between 5,000 and 35,000 RPM with a little adjustable dial on the back so you can really hone in your speed. And I'm going to put all the specifications up here on the screen. This is what you'd get if you bought it directly from Dremel, the business. There is a big, nice on-off switch here in the center, which works really well, and right above that there is a locking button, which allows you to lock the spindle, and then if you have the spindle locked, it will not spin. So like, this is if you wanted to screw something onto it, you'd have to lock the spindle right there. And fortunately, if it is in the on position, you can't actually push this button down, so you don't have to worry about tearing out or stripping it out inside the Dremel. Up near the front, this is the bare end of the tool, and here there is a thread that you could put your collets in, and then your collet holder, and then that's how you hold on to your tools. Plus there is another threaded attachment up a little higher that you can then use to screw on like your little finger gripper. This is for getting more precision, and a whole bunch of other things. So it's pretty versatile, and you can even have a little 3-jaw chuck that can go in the end of this instead of your collet if you have that attachment, which makes changing tools out a lot faster. So it's really versatile up here on the end, and you can attach all kinds of different things, which is really awesome. A feature that is mentioned a few times in the manual is that you can replace the brushes in this, because it's a brushed motor that runs this, and on the top and bottom here there are these little circles. So if you've used it a ton and you need to replace those brushes, it can be done on your own. When it comes to the feel of the tool, although it's very big, it isn't incredibly heavy. It's pretty heavy. I think it's been really well designed with a lot of nice grippy rubber around here. The buttons are in easy to access places with your fingers, and you don't have to worry about accidentally spinning the speed to a weird setting because it's kind of inset, as well as this power button is set below the plane of the top of it, so something just grazing across it won't accidentally turn it on. There's this little attachment at the end to give you more refined control, like a pencil if you're doing more detailed work, and it actually works pretty well to get a nice grip there down at the end. And there are these vents along the side. This is one thing you kind of have to watch out for while you're holding it, and you don't want to cover up all of those vents while you're doing maybe some more chunky work, because the tool needs that airflow, so you got to grip somewhere around these vents here on the sides. So overall, I think it's well designed. Now, when I say tools and attachments, what I mean is you have tools such as a cutting bit or a grinding bit like this, and then an attachment is essentially something that would thread higher up onto this thread. So the tools are the business end, and then the attachments are pretty much everything else that kind of attaches up there to guide your tools and aid in that. So for attachments, like I said, we got that finger gripper, which is my personal favorite, and then we also have a shield for if you do something with sparks. I like to use that one as well. There is a little light in case you are doing dusty work, as well as a lawnmower blade sharpener guide. This is a little bit small for the lawnmower blades that we use at my house, but maybe it'll work for you, as well as a pair of other things. I'm not exactly sure what these are used for like routing things, but they can be used to set the depth of your tool at different heights, and then you can adjust it just like that. You can do that with both of these, and they're just for different things, like setting it at 45 or straight up and down. When it comes to the tools, again, this varies upon what kind of kit you got, but there are cutting discs which you can wear through, but they're super good. I love those, and they come with a nice quick release mechanism that allows you to take them in and out really fast and change them out for other tools. And then you've got a little wrench that allows you to tighten the collet. And then you've got sanding discs, sanding wheels, grinding wheels. You've got brushes in there, more grinding implements, and possibly a polishing compound depending upon when you get it. But you've got polishing wheels as well, 2 sizes of engraving cutters for like wood. You get a drill bit, and then maybe even a sideways cutter for taking your tool around like this and cutting sideways through a board. I lost mine for that, but it could come in yours. Now, when it comes to the cost of a tool like this, the Dremel 4300 comes in at around $120, and it can drop as low as $88 on Amazon if you're really looking out for those deals. I got it for about $100 at a local department store a few years ago, and this is a little more expensive. $120 is a bit more expensive than you'd get a really nice drill at, and I'd argue that the Dremel 4300 is a really nice rotary tool. It doesn't have as much torque as a drill, but it can go and spin a whole lot faster, and it's more versatile. Now, you could definitely get a cheaper drill, but you could also get a cheaper rotary tool like this one, and we're kind of comparing those more premium prices. I've owned this tool for a few years. I have done some power carving with it. It's good for deburring things. I've sanded stuff, sharpened blades, and done a lot of miscellaneous tasks. And that's what's so cool about the Dremel and rotary tools like this, is that they can be used for almost any job, but they aren't super amazing at any specific job, except for maybe like grinding and sanding little tiny details, because it is a fairly chunky tool, so it's not great for those details, but it doesn't have as much torque as a drill. But hey, if you're getting value out of this video, then smash the like button. I want to pass the question off to you. What do you or will you use the Dremel 4300 for? And I read and reply to every comment, so if you leave it down there, I will be sure to get back with you. I can use it on almost anything I want to do, and I always have that room to level up and do more things when I have a very versatile tool like this, because a lot of the time I am personally crafting with cardboard, and this is a bit of an overkill tool, but I always have that opportunity to level up into something else. And even if I was working with wood, I could level up into metals and things and have this tool be available to kind of get me started over there. It's a great starter tool. But what I wanted to see here is that if I wanted to make a hole and really wanted to make a really good hole, I would use a drill. If I wanted to groove some edges, I would use a router. If I wanted to cut complicated parts, I would use a scroll saw. If I wanted to get a nice surface finish on things, I'd probably use a mouse sander or something like that. And if I wanted to power carve, I'd probably use a Fordham. Like if I wanted to carve out sticks to make models, like a Fordham that's a lot more like a pencil. And if I wanted to do detailed sanding, I'd actually stick with the Dremel, because it's great for having all those different tools, and you can sand things and do detailed work really well if you keep having to change between sanding different types of things. This is an amazing tool for getting moved forward and moving up from paper and cardboard and little basic crafting materials into more advanced stuff, and it's really a low investment because it's much cheaper than all those previously mentioned tools added together, which would rapidly become more than $120, and it allows you to figure out what maybe other tools you need more, because there are things that the Dremel isn't able to do well enough that you need to buy another tool that justifies the cost. But for most of us, we'd probably be able to get by with maybe one multi-tool just like this one. Now, maybe you already have a workshop and have a ton of different tools, and you're like, well, why would I really need a multi-tool tool? And I still don't think you can really go wrong with the Dremel, because it can do a lot of different things, and it does them well. This is, again, a quality tool, and it does that sanding and detailed work so well, and you can get a lot of different attachments for it to kind of customize it to exactly what you need. So I still think you would not be regretting the purchase of a Dremel. Now, if you're a crafter that might be content to stay crafting like with lower scale materials, I might say don't go with the Dremel 4300, but check out some of the cheaper models. I'll link them in the description as well, below as well. And for anybody who might not be ready to invest in the full-on tool here, here, there are cheaper versions, lower power versions that can be used on lighter weight materials and stuff like that. I am glad I bought it, and it has never let me down, and I would certainly recommend it to almost any crafter or maker. But if you don't feel ready for a power tool like the Dremel 4300, then check out this video right here where I share gift ideas for makers, and they're on a much lower budget, so you might find something that interests you there. If you're still watching, you are totally awesome, and I would have loved to have earned your trust to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell notification so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video. God bless you.